Hello friends, how's it going? It's me, Betty Jean. It is that time again for my monthly favorites. Another month has come and gone and we are entering June, and these are the things that I was loving in the month of May. I have some makeup, some books, some miscellaneous things, and I'm excited to chat about them with you. Before we get started, I did of course film this look. This full face get ready with me is already on my channel. It should be the video before this one. It's playing with the Okavango Safari palette from Nomad Cosmetics, so go check that out if you are curious. And as far as my accessories today go, these earrings are from Spooky Doodle Club on Etsy, and I don't know where this choker's from because it's quite old. So yeah, without further ado, let's just hop in and chat about my favorites. Now, my makeup favorites. Well, I do have some pretty solid favorites. I have to say I was really only trying new things out for the first half of the month because the second half of the month I was on vacation with my family, so these are the products that I tried, loved. A lot of these I even brought with me on the trip, and let's talk about them. This first one I think I got towards the end of April, but I'm still so obsessed with it. It's currently like my favorite primer of all time. It's the Freck Rich Bitch. It's just so good, and it's such an interesting texture. Let me pop a little on my finger. It's very like moisturizing and smooth, but do you see that? It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It like looks like it would be super sticky, but it's not. But it has like a good grip to it, but it's not tacky either. It's like the perfect combination of like gripping and moisturizing, and I just love this. I cannot get enough. I've also been loving this glowy super gel from Say. This is in the shade Star Glow. I've been using this personally either to mix with my foundation or kind of put on as a second primer for extra glow. It's just so pretty. I'm only gonna put a little on my hand because I bought the mini size and I'm running out of it, but it's right there. That little splash of glow. It's so cute and so smooth feeling. I love the radiance it gives my skin. I'm kind of regretting not buying the big size, but I feel like it was wise to buy the small one because I didn't know if I would love it or not. So I'll use this one up. Maybe afterwards I'll use some of my other glowy things that I already own, and then maybe restock on the big one, maybe in like the fall Sephora sale or something. Moving on to blush, Lethal Cosmetics came out with their Wildflower collection, and in it were these cute blushes. Look at how pretty they are. I'm just gonna talk about these as a whole because I think just as a collective four, they're so cute together. We have the shades Aster, Carnation, Dandelion, and Pansy. Carnation and Dandelion, the pink and the yellow, are definitely the ones I've used the most, but I really like all four of these. They're so glowy and springy and fun. They add such a nice bright pop on the cheeks, and because they're so glowy, they're so easy to blend as well. And I feel like they're even so glowy that you can almost use them as like just a glowy situation if you didn't want to add extra highlighter. I almost always want to add extra highlighter, but these do leave enough glow on your cheeks that you can kind of get away with not, and these are just lovely. Kind of scooting between blush and highlighter, another thing I treated myself to during the Sephora sale was this Haus Labs gel highlight in the shade Rose Quartz. It's like a powder gel formula. This particular shade had a lot of hype and I've been wanting to try it, so here it is now. It's so pretty. I will say I personally don't use this as a highlighter. It's a little too dark for me and my pasty self to use as a highlighter, but it makes a beautiful blush or a blush highlighter hybrid. It is so glowy, so glorious. I feel like gel powder is not the texture I would personally call this. It definitely just feels like a powder to me. It's not like any kind of putty consistency or anything, but it is radiant and glorious and lovely, and I'm debating getting another shade that's actually super light and offers me a highlight, but I am really happy with this one for now. Keeping on the same theme of highlighters, Unearthly Cosmetics released 4 new highlighters last month as like singles, like their low light highlighters, and this one in Twilight specifically I really, really like. It's so pretty. You can see it's getting stained from me like dipping my sponge and brushes into it. This is very similar to the Fenty How Many Carats Diamond Bomb in the sense that it's just kind of like translucent with sparkles in it. You can kind of see that smeared all over my hand, but it is a different texture than the How Many Carats Diamond Bomb. That one is more of like a putty, balmy kind of texture. This one just feels more of like a slick powder, but very similar. Do you need both? You probably don't need both, but I did want to mention this one because it's really, really pretty, and I've been wearing it. I'm wearing it today. It's just a really pretty, glowy, sparkly, magical situation. Moving on to eyes, going back to that Lethal Cosmetics Wildflower collection, the Wildflower palette is so good. I love this so, so much. It is so super pretty. I love the bright colors. The shimmers in here are so shifty and magical. I did do a full YouTube video with this wildflower collection, and I also did post another tutorial with this palette over on Instagram, TikTok, and it should be on YouTube Shorts as well. But I just love, it's such a fun palette. And then next are the Odin's Eyes new palettes, the Jewels and Gem and Stone and Rock. I actually brought these with me on vacation. So even though I've only uploaded one video, a 2 looks video with 1 look each palette to my channel, I've played with these a bunch of times, and I still intend on doing individual videos on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube Shorts. The Jewels and Gem looks like this, kind of like pinky, purpley, cool tone vibes. It is so pretty. It's very fun, very romantic. I really enjoy it. And then we have the Stone and Rock. This is my favorite of the 2 for sure. Grungy Swamp Queen energy. I live for this color story. I think it's so pretty. It almost looks like I could have created this look with this palette, honestly. It's just so good. I love the different colors, the shifty shadows. It is just so much fun. I'm really glad I brought these on my trip with me. The only eyeshadow palettes I brought were these 2 and my collab with Odin's Eye, the Planet Spirit palette, and I thought the 3 of them were a very fun collection to keep around with me during that trip. Moving on to my last makeup item, I have a lip gloss. This is the Heather Austin Unearthly Cosmetics gloss in the shade Omen. I did do a full video on my channel already with the whole Heather Austin collab, but I only used those for such a short time before I left for my trip, so I couldn't really consider the highlighter or the palette like a monthly favorite. However, I brought this gloss with me on the trip and I used it a lot. Just sparkly goodness. It's so pretty. I'm wearing it right now. I just love a wet, sparkly, sheer gloss. It's just everything to me. Love the little sparkles that are in here. It's such a comfy, slippy formula. I really enjoy it. Moving on away from makeup into the world of books, I read quite a few books in the month of May, and I'm gonna do my reading wrap up very soon, doing my get ready with me, chatting about all of the books that I read. But these 3 were my favorites. I believe these 3 were the ones in the month that I gave 5 stars. These were my absolute favorites. First is Things We Hide from the Light by Lucy Score. This is the sequel to Things We Never Get Over. It's like the blue cover with flowers all over it. I loved the first one. I love this one. I love the town of Knockemout. I love the characters in this series. I am so looking forward to her 3rd one. I think it comes out later this year. I just eat these books up. I love Lucy Score's writing. I love just her descriptions of characters. I feel like not only does she do a really good job like with the character development and the setting of like the main characters in the town, even the side characters, I feel like she's so descriptive and I really get to know all of them. I fall in love with everyone. The first book was between the main characters Naomi and Knox, and this one is between Knox's brother Nash and his love interest Lena. I loved it. I thought it was so good. I don't know if I liked this one or the first one more. I might have liked the first one just a little bit more, but it was just like such a good introduction to that town. But I loved this one. I loved the love story blossoming between Lena and Nash, very much a slow burn kind of romance, and it was just really good. So love this series. I love Lucy Score. The chokehold that woman has on me, I will eventually own everything she's written. Next was The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I did not expect to fall in love with this one as much as I did. I really enjoyed reading it. It's kind of a story about like a ghostwriter who can also see ghosts, and she goes back to her hometown for her father's funeral, and then she's interacting with ghosts and stuff like that. I don't want to like give too much away because it was really fun to read and let it unfold on its own, but it was just so good and so wholesome. The very end of the book, the way things were tying up and wrapping up, I felt so like heavy chested and teary eyed and like the hot eyes, you know what I mean? I just felt so emotional about it. It was so good. I loved this. I honestly wish I could read it again for the first time because it was just so cute. Very cozy autumnal vibes. It was so, so good. If you want like a good combination of like romance meets spooky, this is a really, really good one. It was so, so good. It deals with topics of like grief, kind of escaping, wanting to find love and like rediscovering it again. It was just so, so good. And it's not a super long read either. It's nothing like this. Although I fly through these books. They're so easy to read for me. And last but not least, I think this might be my favorite one that I read in the month of May. It's Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. I saw lately a bunch of people who I follow that love to read books. She came out with a new book recently called Meet Me at the Lake that I'm currently finishing reading, but I bought this one first because I was like, well, let me read the first one. They don't go together, but sometimes in my mind, I'm like, well, let me read the first one first. And I'm so glad I did because this was so fantastic. It's kind of like a then and now kind of book. It's through Persephone's perspective. That's really hard to say together. But basically in the now portion, she gets a call from someone back in her childhood, Charlie of Charlie and Sam, who I'll get into in a second. But Charlie calls letting her know that their mom had passed away and she should come for the funeral if she's able to. And she absolutely does. She immediately drops everything. She hasn't even been back there in 12 years from when she was 18. I think she's like 30 in the present time. But basically the then and now goes back and forth between what's happening this weekend when she is in town for this funeral, and the then goes chronologically from 17 years ago up until 12 years ago. 13 to 18, I think, is the range off the top of my head. But she meets Sam, the brother of Charlie, and it's just kind of going through the then portion of their friendship and the building and all of that stuff, and then the now and like what's happened in this time that they've been apart and kind of reconnecting again. It was just so good. I was so invested in each part of the book. Every time it would switch from like then to now, I was immediately re-engrossed in like the current present time that it was talking about. I loved the characters. I fell so head over heels in love with Sam. I love Percy as well. That's what they call Persephone in the book. And it was just so good. Very much a like friends to lovers, second chance romance kind of vibe. And it was just so good. I loved this book. I'm really liking her new book as well. I don't think I'm as in love with it as I was with this one, but I still have like 100 pages to go. So I might like fall deeper in love as I continue reading. But these 3 books were my absolute hits of the month. I love them. Like I said, I read a lot of books in May, so I'll be talking about that very soon in my upcoming reading wrap up. Get ready with me, so stay tuned for that. Last, I just have a couple things. First being the new Guardians of the Galaxy movie was so good, but it was so depressing. It's like, I almost didn't even want to include it in my monthly favorites because I was so sad the whole time, but it was a really fantastic movie. It's just very heavy. If you know anything about Guardians of the Galaxy and Rockets, it's basically heavily focused on like Rocket's backstory and how he became like how he is, where it's like a genetically modified like raccoon hybrid type thing. It's really, really sad, really heavy on the like animal experimental vibes, and it was just super upsetting, but it was so good at the same time. And it wasn't fully about that, like there were other things happening as well. Very heavy movie. I feel like if you're a Marvel lover, you would enjoy seeing it, but I wouldn't recommend watching it. It's just like an offhand movie if you know nothing about the Marvel movies. And I also don't know if I'd ever rewatch it, to be honest with you, just because it was really sad, but it was really good. I also have a random food favorite, which I don't own any of right now, so I'm going to pop a picture on the screen here. I noticed that the Coffee Mate coffee creamer brand came out with a couple plant-based ones, and they are so good. I've tried many a plant-based coffee creamer in my day. The Starbucks ones are pretty good. Khalifa Farms is okay. It doesn't froth the best, but they're okay. I've tried many, is my point. But these Coffee Mate ones are pretty up there as some of my favorites, specifically the caramel one that I have pictured here. It is so tasty. It's so caramelly and it froths so good in my frother. I also tried the French vanilla one. Those are the only 2 flavors I've seen in stores so far. There could be others out there, and if there are, I will find them and I will own them. They are so tasty. The only reason I don't own any right now is because when we went grocery shopping yesterday, for some reason that specific Publix did not have them in stock. But I have seen them at Target and they are so, so tasty. And yeah, I think that wraps it up for my May favorites. I hope you liked this video. I would love to hear your thoughts on everything I mentioned. Have you tried any of the makeup, read any of the books? Did you see Guardians of the Galaxy? Have you tried the creamers? I would love to hear your thoughts down below. I would also love to hear your favorites from the month, whether it was like a trip you took, because I took a fantastic trip, if it was makeup you tried, food you ate. I would love to know what your favorite things of the month of May were. If you made it to the end of this video, leave your favorite emoji, and if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my channel out a lot, and if you're not already, you can follow me on my other socials. You can join the battybean fam. I'm battybean on everything, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And if you want, you can subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. I'm posting most days here as well. And feel free to join my channel memberships. The link to sign up will be down below. You'll get a little bat badge next to your name. You'll get exclusive little emojis, and you will get a members only Get Ready With Me once a month, which, now that it's a new month, I will be asking, or just asked, on my members only community tab for your suggestions on what to use. So now's a great time to join if you want to put your input in and see the upcoming video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Okay, bye. Is there a cat at the door? I think there is. All right, Ashley, you gotta pay the cat tax now. You know how this works. There's the boy. in all his fluffy glory. I missed you. You look like just a ball of cat right now.